And welcome back to another daily devotion. I'm Pastor Roy here at Woodlawn Christian Church in Lake City, Iowa, and this devotion is for Friday, May 12th of 2023. We are in the third chapter today of Second Corinthians. We're going to look at the first six verses of chapter 3, verses 1 through 6, and this whole chapter is called Ministers of the New Covenant. I'm going to probably break it into 2 or 3 sections this chapter, but first 6 verses all I want to deal with today. And while you're watching this, I do want to say I'm probably on my way to Sioux Falls. Our son is back from Tallahassee. He and his girlfriend are up in Sioux Falls visiting her parents. Her mom is a professor at Augustana up there, and her grandparents are here from China. She was Jingwen, Chris' girlfriend, was born in China. Her parents emigrated when she was a little girl. But her grandparents are here for about 6 months, I guess. I've not had a chance to meet her parents or her grandparents, so we're really looking forward to this. This will be fun. But communicating will be a little difficult since her grandparents do not speak English and I don't speak Mandarin. Creeth is learning Mandarin, but God bless him for it. I barely can speak English. So with that, let's jump into verses 1 through 6 in chapter 3 of Second Corinthians. Are we beginning to commend ourselves again? Or do we need, as some do, letters of recommendation to you or from you? You yourselves are our letter of recommendation, written on your hearts, to be known and read by all men. And you show that you are a letter from Christ delivered by us, written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God, not on tablets of stone but on tablets of human hearts. Such is the confidence that we have through Christ toward God, not that we are competent of ourselves to claim anything as coming from us. Our competence is from God, who has made us competent to be ministers of a new covenant, not in a written code, but in the Spirit. For the written code kills, but the Spirit gives life. Okay. Now, that last part, Paul is referencing a little bit. He's kind of in the same thoughts that he talks about in Romans, about the law showed him his sins. And that's, of course, we talked a little bit about yesterday. People don't like the scripture because it shows them their sins and it kills you. You're dead because you see what you've done wrong. But the Spirit gives life, the grace, the forgiveness gives life. So that's what's going on there. Paul's talking about that. If it weren't for the law, I wouldn't have known I was a sinner, he says, and after all. But at the beginning here, he says, are we beginning to commend ourselves again? Are we beginning to, are we believing our own press? Are we thinking we're all that? No, we're not all that at all. What we are, it comes from God, he says, or it says, anything the competence he has does not come from us, it comes from God. And it's the same way with us. If any of us start believing our own press, that's a downfall of a church, is when the pastor, the leadership start thinking they're all that and more. They just, things are going to come apart at the seams because your ego is getting in the way. And I'm not a big fan of churches that are driven, basically a cult of personality, where the pastor has got so charismatic that everybody flocks to because of the charismatic pastor. You don't have that problem here. Your pastor doesn't have that kind of charisma. That's not the way it goes. I used to have a big ego, and there are days when it tries to raise its ugly head. But God's been pretty good at showing me that you're not all that, Roy. Act, you're less than that. Anything that we're able to accomplish through these devotions, through the ministry, through the preaching, it's all because of the Spirit. It's all because of God. It's not about the message. It's a message, not the messenger. That is what you always have to remember. And likewise, if the messenger is, being pompous and all of that, remember, it's not about that pompous messenger. It's about the message. Does he have the message right? If he doesn't have the message right, stay away. Doesn't matter how charismatic he is or she. That's not what you want. There's a lot of false teachers, and we kind of went over that yesterday. Those that adulterate the word, and he's kind of getting on that here. It's not about them telling you all these wonderful things. It's about the wonderful things from God, not the wonderful things about, that they're making you these promises. Because some of the things in Scripture are hard to swallow, as we've been talking about. Some of them are very, cut us to the quake. And if you don't feel convicted when you're reading Scripture, if you never feel convicted, if you always feel, oh, life is just wonderful and it's all this fluffy stuffy, if you never go, that hurt, you're not paying attention. You're not really looking at the Scripture with open eyes and applying it to your own life. You always say, it's that other guy, he's a bad dude, or she's a bad person, or what have you. You need to remember that when you're pointing that finger, you've got all these others that are pointing back at you. And when you're reading Scripture, the true way to know that you're really looking at Scripture and you really understand what's going on is if you are not constantly, hopefully, maybe you are, maybe I am, who knows, it's on the regular, as they say, that I feel convicted reading Scripture, and you should be too. If you're not, then you're just simply not paying attention. You're not really being honest with yourself or the good word, either one, or with God. Be honest with yourself, be honest with God. That's what I got for you today. Have a very blessed day. And if you do enjoy these devotions, if they gain anything from it, if it helps you at all, please like and subscribe. We would love to have you back. Make a kind comment. Be nice, though. Don't hurt poor Pastor Roy's feelings. Be nice to me. With that, I'm going to let you go. Be a blessing to someone today. Tell them about Jesus, okay? God bless you all. Take care. Bye-bye.